Alright, hello everybody and welcome back. We are working on a mixed operations problem here. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0 equals what? Alright, so first of all, you got to remember order of operations. Multiplication has precedence over addition, and multiplication is shorthand for repeated addition. Where a lot of people are getting this problem wrong is they're just solving left to right. They're adding 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and then they're multiplying all of it by 0. And then they're saying the answer is 0. And that is wrong because you don't just blindly solve left to right. You need to follow the order of operations. And if you remember that, you remember that multiplication always takes precedence over addition. There's basically an order of operations where you've got parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division left to right, multiplication and division. They've got equal precedence. And then you have addition and subtraction, which also have equal precedence. And so you need to follow that order. If you don't have parentheses, you don't have exponents, you then look for multiplication or division, and you do those next. So in this case, you would actually solve the 5 times 0 first. And just remember that multiplication is nothing more. It's a shorthand way of writing repeated addition. Now with 5 times 0, it's not a big deal, right? 5 times 0 is basically saying take 5 and add it 0 times. Well, you take 5 and add it 0 times, that is 0. So it's 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 0 equals what? It equals 0. So there you go. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 0 is 15. Now there are what are some of the common mistakes? I've already hinted at one of them, and that would be the people that are blindly solving left to right. And I know I keep hearing it all the time. People say, well, back in my day, if you didn't have parentheses, you just solved left to right. And I guarantee you that's not true. I can show you the textbooks, and nobody was ever taught to blindly solve left to right. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0 is not 0. If you added parentheses, you could get 0, but you'd have to add parentheses around the addition. And then if you wrote it like this and multiplied by 0, then yeah, you would get 0 because what happens? Let me get the pointer going here. So when you add parentheses like that, you're basically saying, I want to prioritize what's inside of the parentheses first, which would be all of this addition. And then secondly, you would multiply by 0 and get 0. But that's a completely different problem when you add those parentheses. You've just changed the problem that we just had, so that's not correct. Another common mistake I've seen, and this is probably even worse, is where people are trying to say the answer is 20. No, it's not 20. You're completely missing the multiplication here. When people are saying the answer is 20, they're not only don't understand the order of operations, they also don't understand multiplication by 0. And I see a lot of people will make this claim, well, 0 times 5 is 0, but 5 times 0 still leaves me with 5. And that is not true. And I guarantee you, it's not just in the United States. I've had people in Germany tell me that. I've had people in many different countries have that same misconception. And a lot more people don't understand multiplication by 0 than I ever imagined before. I just thought this was something that everybody knew, but I'm finding that a lot of people have really forgotten the properties of 0. A lot of people forgot the fact that multiplication is commutative. What do I mean by commutative? It means that the order of the factors in a multiplication expression have no impact on the answer. In other words, I can flip the order. And here's a good example. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 5 is also 10. And so, again, 5 times 0 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. Multiplication is commutative. It doesn't matter which order I multiply. 5 times 0 is the same as 0 times 5. They're both 0. And I know that confuses a lot of people, and it doesn't seem intuitive to them. But what they forget is, again, multiplication is repeated addition. 5 times 0 means add 5 0 times. Well, if I add 5 0 times, I'm going to get 0. If I take 0 times 5, it means add 0 5 times. Well, I can add a million zeros, and I'm still going to get 0. So no matter how many zeros I add, you'll get 0. So they're both the same thing. I think some people, it might be more intuitive to see 0 times 5 and go, oh yeah, that means add 0 5 times. Well, yeah, that's 0. But then they're losing it when the 5 times 0. They're not quite understanding the idea of adding 5 0 times. Um, Another way to think about multiplication, it has to do about groupings of things. I have a lot of people tell me, well, if I have 10 pencils and I multiply 10 pencils by 0, I still have my 10 pencils. Well, you sure do, but that's not what the question is. The question is how it's about groupings. Like if I have 10 pencils and I group them in 2 bags of 5 pencils each, right? That's 5 times 2 is 10. I have my 10 pencils. Now what if I have 5 pencils and I'm going to group them in bags, but let's say I have 0 bags? Well, somebody's going to say, well, I still have my 5 pencils. You sure do. But 5 times 0 bags, 5 pencils times 0 bags, I've got 0 pencils in bags. 0 pencils have been grouped in bags. I still have my 5 pencils. But what the people that are saying I still have 5 pencils, so 5 times 0 is 5, they're not understanding what multiplication is. It's about how many groups of something you have. If somebody's being paid $10 an hour and they work 0 hours, 10 times 0 is not 10. $10 per hour times 0 hours is not $10. You don't owe somebody $10 for 0 hours of work. It's simple multiplication. It's 0. Of course, it's 0. Um, Now, a lot of people also don't understand how to use their calculator correctly, and I've got a little show, I'm going to show a little demo here of the standard and scientific mode calculators on a computer, just to show you the difference between what's called immediate execution mode and expression mode for calculators. So I just want to show you how you get two different answers, but it has to do with how you understand, whether or not you understand how to use the particular calculator you've got. If you're using a cheap dollar store calculator, you might get the wrong answer if you're trying to enter the whole expression, but we'll take a look at that. All right, we're going to enter this in a standard mode calculator, which would be the same thing as like using a dollar store calculator. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0. And then if I hit equals, I get 0. But look what happened. I've got 20 times 0 is 0. Because what this does in this mode, and this is a Windows PC standard mode calculator, it's solving an immediate execution mode. It's basically solving 5 plus 5 and getting 10, and then adding 5, getting 15, adding 5, getting 20, and then multiplying 20 by 0. Now, and that's incorrect. This is the incorrect answer. This is not meant for adding expressions like this. If you switch this over to scientific mode, which I'm going to do right now, you're going to watch me enter it again. I'm going to go 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0 equals, and the answer is 15. And right away, you're going to notice the entire expression is written here. You got 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0 is 15. On the standard mode calculator, we were left with 20 times 0. The reason is that different calculators have different types of input methods. I see a lot of people reinforce an incorrect answer because they do not understand how to use their calculator. When you have mixed operations like this, with multiplication mixed with addition, you need to be careful what kind of calculator you're using. The ones that work in immediate execution mode are not meant to enter an entire expression with mixed operations and then hit the enter key. That's not how those work. You would need to do the multiplication first on that type of a calculator and then do the addition, and then you would get 15. So it has nothing to do with you being correct when you say, oh, my calculator said the answer is 0. That's still wrong. The answer is 15. You just need to understand how calculators work.